Om. 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 Sahana bhavatu, sahano bhunaktu, sahaviryam karavavahai, tejasvinavadhitamastu, ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shantihi. Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudiraye. Hari Om, Jai Gurudev. Hope my voice is not breaking because there is some internet issue. I don't know, but we were looking at yesterday Bhagwan's answers to Arjuna Samshaya about the Gati of Yoga Brashta. And Bhagwan has very innocently and very beautifully I will just repeat the shloka, what Bhagwan had replied, and then we will go to new verse. Shri Bhagavan पार्थ नैवेह नामुत्र विनाशस्तस्य विद्यते न हि कल्याणकृत कश्चित् दुर्गतिं तात गच्छति. Bhagwan, Shri Bhagwan said, indeed, O son of Pritha, Arjuna, there is no destruction for him or her, neither here nor in the hereafter, because anyone who performs good actions never reaches a bad end. Prapya punyakritam lokan shita shashvati samaha shuchinam shrimatam gehe yoga prato bijayate. And gain the worlds belonging to those who do good actions, and having lived there for countless years, the one who did not succeed in yoga is born in the home of the wealthy and cultured people who are committed to dharma. अथवा योगिनामेव कुले भवति धीमताम् एतद्विदुर्लभतरं लोके जन्म यदीदृशम्. Or he is indeed born into the family of wise yogis. A birth such as this is indeed very difficult to gain in this world. The patronage of yogic parents, it is very, very difficult to gain in this world. But the yoga brashta, he may get rebirth into such family where there is a life of dharma. Further, Krishna says, Tatra tam sangam labhate paurvehikam yatate to bhuyah siddhau kuru nandana. There he gains a connection through the intellect with that which existed in his previous body and strives for further success in yoga than that gained previously. O joy of the Kuru family. So here I will just browse through some shloka, because here Bhagavan is saying our past intellect which will have some connection, and due to that he will continue his journey on the path of moksha. So the connection with the past is by means of the intellect. This is why wherever there is a man studying the Shastras, generally at least one of his children will show an interest at a very young age. This child will go and sit with the father and will not be interested in things that children are usually interested in. Why? Because there is a connection with the previous tendencies, purva samskaras, through the intellect. Arjuna was addressed as Kuru Nandana here, Kuru being the name of the family into which Arjuna was born. Kuru Nandana means the joy of the Kuru family. Krishna perhaps uses this name here to remind Arjuna of the advantages of this present birth. If you want me to repeat anything, please let me know. So here Bhagwan is reminding him of his Kuru clan, for which he had so many advantages. Bhishma Pitama being his tat. Further, Krishna says, पूर्वाभ्यासेन तेनैव ह्रियते शवशोऽपि सः जिज्ञासुरपि योगस्य शब्दब्रह्मादि वर्तते तेन पूर्वाभ्यासेन. By this previous practice, eva alone, avashah api, even helplessly, saha, he, hriyate he, is indeed carried away. Yogasya, of yoga, jignasuhu api, even as one who is desirous of the knowledge, shabda brahma, the Veda, ativartate, goes beyond. By this previous practice alone, he is carried away helplessly, even as one who is desirous of the knowledge of yoga goes beyond the Veda, that is, beyond the Karmakanda of the Veda. So this verse also we had seen. I will just quickly browse through. So here Krishna Bhagavan says that the person who was yoga brashta in the previous birth, in the present birth also, he will be following the same path. And that because it will be in his Purva Janma Samskara, in his intellect. The word avasha here implies that he has no control over the matter. He is absorbed by the yoga, taken away by it, pulled into it by the various practice, even if he is not interested. But he is interested in it. In fact, he is interested in nothing else. He wants to know what it is all about. And even if he is not that interested, even if he is only mildly curious, this yoga will keep popping into his head, and he will want to know what self-knowledge is, what all the talk about enlightenment means, and so on. So even though on the superficial side, he may seem to be engaged in all other activities, but from the inner side, he is fascinated with the life of yoga. He's because of his previous practices. Even a simple curious desire is enough. Krishna says here, for him to be above the Veda, to transcend the Veda, that is the karma portion of the Veda, Shabda Brahma Ativartate. It will cause him to give up all the karmas again, become a sannyasi, and continue his pursuit of the knowledge. Nothing will interest him except the subject matter known as Vedanta. Nothing else. None of the means and ends discussed in the Veda will interest him at all. In other words, in no time, this person will discover Vairagya, dispassion, because it is natural for him. So he will be, the moment he's having a desire to pursue this life of sannyasi, he will leave everything. He will discover the vairagya, and it is not something all of a sudden, because it is natural for him due to his purva janma samskara. Once self-inquiry has begun, there is no going back. Krishna answers Arjuna's question by telling him that once you have started to inquire into the self, there is no going back, nor is there a bad end of any kind. There is only a continuous pursuit until what is to be gained, self-knowledge, is gained. Until then, the pursuit is never stopped, is never affected in any way. This then was an assurance. Krishna's words are the pramana here. Although there is some supporting logic, the words alone are the pramana, there being no other way of proving them to be right or wrong. In the next verse, Krishna describes the ultimate result of this pursuit. Prayatnadyatamaanastu yogi samshuddha kilbishah. Prayatnadyatamaanastu yogi samshuddha kilbishah. अनेक जन्म संसिद्धः ततो याति param tagatim. Two, whereas prayatnat, by means of the will, yatamanah, one who makes effort, yogi, the yogi, samshuddha kilbishah, the one who is cleansed of all impurities, aneka janma samsiddhah, accomplished in many births, tatah, then param, ultimate, gatim, and yati, gains. Tu prayatnat yatamanah yogi samshuddha kilbishah अनेक जन्म संसिद्धः ततः param gatim yati. Whereas the yogi who makes an effort by the means of the will and who cleansed all of all impurities is successful after many births, then he or she gains the ultimate end. So the ultimate result of this pursuit will be he will get the moksha at the end. In this verse, Krishna picks up from where he left off when he had been talking about yoga and the yogi before Arjuna asked his question. Having defined yoga as the vision of sameness in all beings, he now talks about the yogi who has this vision, first referring to him as yatamana, a person who is making effort. The word prayatna also means effort. Shankara clarifies the use of these two words here, saying that prayatna refers to the will of the person, meaning that there is great will on the person's part, because what is to be gained is very difficult to accomplish. It is against all odds, so to speak. Thus, prayatnat manah refers to the one who is making effort with his or her will. The yogi discussed here is also the one for whom all the impurities have been removed, cleansed, samshuddha kilbisha. These impurities are the raga dveshas, the papas, and their psychological outcome like guilt, etc. The person who has cleansed himself or herself from all of them by living a life of karma yoga is samshuddha kilbisha. This purification is not something that is accomplished in one lifetime, Krishna says. It has taken many births to remove these impurities. So here, I think we have to recall all the words, all the verses in this chapter, what Bhagavan has said for Dhyana Yoga or the yogi, Karma Yogi, Prashantamana, whose mind is, whose antakaran is pure, who is Samadarshi, who is with Viveka Buddhi, who is having more interest in Antarangi Sadhana, and who is making with his own will and with his own effort, he will reach there. Anyone would like to share anything? To be a seeker is no ordinary accomplishment. Even to have gained the upadhi, the body of a seeker, a mumukshu, to have the desire for moksha is itself not an ordinary accomplishment. It has taken many births to come to this pursuit. The many births, aneka janma, is only with reference to the past, because now the person is studying the Gita. Therefore, the person being addressed here is called aneka janma samsiddha. So beautiful word. Please remember, aneka janma samsiddha. One who has taken many births to come to the point of wanting to inquire. The desire for liberation itself is something born out of aneka janma. The proper antakarana, the mind, and the proper upadhi, body, has to be gained for gaining this knowledge, all of which has now been accomplished by this person after many births. In each janma, the person gathered a little bit of yoga samskara, the samskara that is conducive to the pursuit of knowledge. Gathering adequate yoga samskara over many births is a little like becoming a millionaire after you have gathered coupons for a long period of time. Even at the cost of money, you gather this kind of samskara, which is an entirely different type of wealth. The person under discussion here has amassed yoga samskara. He went on gathering it and accumulating it like some great miser until finally the punya gathered makes him an aneka janma samsiddha. Therefore, tatah, having prepared himself in this way, the person is qualified for the knowledge. So Bhagavan is saying that this path of liberation is not easy. Aneka janma samsiddha. You have been gathering, collecting those coupons in every janma, and which is an entirely different type of wealth, yoga samskara. We can also take samsiddha here to mean one who has clear knowledge, since the person is said to be a samshuddha kilbisha, one whose mind is pure and who has gained samsiddhi, the vision of sameness. This clear knowledge is the result of a number of janmas in which the yoga samskara was gathered. Having this clear knowledge, then the person is called Aneka Janma Samsiddha. So here Bhagwan has brought one more beautiful term for Samadarshi, the one who is Aneka Janma Samsiddha because of his Purva Yoga Samskara, which he has collected in every birth. He has become a Yoga Aneka Janma Samsiddha. And because of that, he has that vision of sameness, the vision of Samadarshita. An end that never ends. Knowledge being moksha, the person is also said to have gained the most exalted end, paragati. Every end comes to an end, but moksha an end that does not come to an end. It is the one end from which one does not return. After all, any end that comes to an end is not really an end. It is only a lap, a circular lap. You keep moving around in the circle of samsara, not getting out. All that happens is that you keep coming back to the same point. To distinguish moksha as an end from which there is no coming back, the word end, gati, has an adjective here, para, the most exalted end. Moksha is the end that is gained by one who pursues self-knowledge, and it is an end from which there is no return. I will repeat this paragraph as this is the essence of the whole Bhagwan's reply. An end that never ends. Knowledge being moksha, the person is also said to have gained the most exalted end, paragati. Every end comes to an end, but moksha is an end that does not come to an end. It is the one end from which one does not return. After all, any end that comes to an end is not really an end. It is only a lap, a circular lap. You keep moving around in the circle of samsara, not getting out. All that happens is that you keep coming back to the same point. To distinguish moksha as an end from which there is no coming back. The word and, gati, has an adjective here, para, the most exalted end. Moksha is the end that is gained by one who pursues self-knowledge, and it is an end from which there is no return. So he will get that Param Gati.
So beautiful, this is Giberaj.
Yeah.
So, no return, no return.
There is no return. So Param Gati he gains. So beautiful. Anyone would like to share? Okay. Therefore, Krishna tells Arjuna. Yeah, please go ahead.
Instead of coming back in the cycle of samsara, the moment a person gains moksha, he takes off at a tangent from the cycle of samsara, so to say. I was just imagining that. That's all. I just wanted to share that. Correct.
Yeah. Therefore, but so many devotees, they don't want moksha. They want to come back again and again, but with a condition that they will keep on singing the glories of Bhagavan.
I think once a person gains moksha, then I think there is a I'm
Choice.
not sure. Yeah, they can take a birth again. Like
Yeah, it will be as per their will, but I'm
as
free.
per
Like
their will,
avatara.
as per
Yeah.
Like
their
avatara.
devotees,
Avatara, no?
like an avatara,
Hmm.
as per the call of the devotees, and then they take birth again.
With the self-will to uplift the world. They
Like
take the avatar.
like we learnt in chapter 4, I think, no?
Hmm.
Yada
Yeah.
yada hi dharmasya glanirбhavati. Yeah.
Yeah, and in the, I think 18 chapters, Vibhuti also as they come, no? Therefore, Krishna tells Arjuna to be a yogi in the next verse. Tapasvibhyodhiko yogi, jnanibhyopi matodhikaha, कर्मीभ्यश्चाधिको योगी तस्माद्योगी भवार्जुन. Yogi, a yogi, tapasvibhyah, to those who live a life of meditation, superior, jnanibhyah, to the scholars, api, even, adhikah, superior, yogi, a yogi, karmibhyah cha, and to those who perform action, adhikah, superior, matah is considered, tasmat, therefore, Arjuna, O Arjuna, yogi bhava, be a yogi. Yogi tapasvibhyah adhikah jnanibhyah api adhikah yogi karmibhyah cha adhikah matah tasmat Arjuna yogi bhava. A yogi is considered superior to those who live a life of meditation, superior even to the scholars, and superior to those who perform action. Therefore, O Arjuna, be a yogi. I will repeat once again. A yogi is considered superior to those who live a life of meditation, superior even to the scholars, and superior to those who perform action. Therefore, O Arjuna, be a yogi. Here, adhika means utkrishta, the best, the most exalted, in terms of what a person has to be. Krishna has already defined the most exalted person as a yogi, a definition that he repeats in the next verse, as we shall see. In the present verse, this yogi is described as one who is superior to all the tapasvis, those who perform various kinds of meditation, and to all the karmis, meaning those who perform the enjoined Vaidika rituals. Both types of people, tapasvis and karmis, are mumukshus and are in no way being condemned here. In fact, they are people who engage in their respective activities for the sole purpose of becoming the yogi, who is the most exalted of them all, the one who either pursues dhyana yoga, contemplation on Atma as Brahman, or who has already accomplished it, having gained this knowledge. Such a yogi is definitely superior to these two types of people said here. So Bhagwan is encouraging Arjuna to be a yogi by tapas and by karma yoga. Scholarship alone does not.
I think what he says is this yogi that Bhagwan is talking about is the highest form of a yogi, which is a jnana yogi. That is what he's comparing. He says, this yogi that I want you to become is greater than a dhyana yogi, greater than a karma yogi, greater than even a scholar. So become the highest form of yogi, which is a jnana yogi, which is a jnana nishta.
I think that's samabhava.
Yeah, the samadarshi, all that. All that is what he's goading him to become.
We should make this yogi definition and keep it,
Yeah, right from the verse first.
No, from many verses we have that. So we have to keep what this definition is.
Please repeat, no, definition of yogi.
It is there in every verse, Madhuriji, of this chapter.
Therefore, we should do an exercise. What he meant with this yogi. That we have to do that exercise. After, I think he will say it in the next verse also. He is telling, no, let us go further.
Here he
which is important because
it's basically when such a yogi is definitely superior to these two types of people, which is the tapasvis and karmis, which is the karma yoga, and then as you said, Dr. Brahma, that who is doing, I mean, those two types of people.
Dhyana. Yeah.
They are mumukshus, they are no way, like near that part, but everything is yoga. Like, you can call it as yoga because your union with that particular task that you're doing, so if you're really into it, then it is called yoga. That if it could be karma yoga, it could be bhakti yoga, or it could be dhyana yoga, or like a meditation. Then the final one is jnana yoga. So that's where the knowledge is leads you to the. But to get to that stage, he already mentioned, like in the previous verse, how you have to take many births to get there, to even have a clear mind where you can meditate upon and contemplate this thing, and then you acquire that knowledge. I mean, not acquire, I mean, the knowledge reveals to yourself. For that, the mind has to be clean.
The vision. The tapasvi is not one who has to find a particular end. Rather, the very tapas has to resolve into this yogi alone. I will repeat, scholarship alone does not give one the vision. The tapasvi is not one who has to find a particular end. Rather, the very tapas has to resolve into this yogi alone. Thus, it can be said that the yogi is superior to the tapasvi. Tapasvibhyah adhikah yogi. In the same way, the yogi is superior to the scholars. Jnanibhyah adhikah yogi. Here the word Jnani refers to the one who knows the Veda. They can recite it and they may even know the meaning of the words. However, one does not gain the knowledge, the vision of the Veda by mere scholarship alone. There has to be a commitment to this knowledge and its pursuit for there to be any possibility of gaining the vision of sameness in all beings. So beautiful. Since this verse is about a yogi who already has the knowledge, scholarship that is talked about here must necessarily exclude Vedanta. Therefore, Gnani has to be taken as someone other than the yogi under discussion. Shankara clarifies this point in his commentary to this verse by referring to Jnanis as those who have scholarship, Panditya, with reference to the meaning of the Veda, Shastrartha, specifically the first portion of the Veda, the Purva Mimamsa Shastra. We can also include the Vedanta Shastra here, since scholars can know the meaning of the word without understanding that it is the meaning of themselves. However, Vedanta Shastra would usually not be included here because the word itself is Vedanta Shastra. These scholars then are those who have scholarship in all the other Shastra but the Vedanta Shastra. And their scholarship has to pay off in the form of this yoga, a yoga characterized by clear vision of the Vastu, the truth of everything. Already having this vision, the yogi is said to be superior to the scholars. Gnanibhyah adhikah yogi. So to have this Samadarshita, it is not, I will just repeat once again. Bhagavan is saying he is more than tapasvi and more than the Gnani, that yogi. Since this verse is about a yogi who already has the knowledge, scholarship that is talked about here must necessarily exclude Vedanta. Therefore, Gnani has to be taken as someone other than the yogi under discussion. Shankara clarifies this point in his commentary to this verse by referring to the Jnanis as those who have scholarship, Panditya, with reference to the meaning of the Veda, Shastrartha, specifically the first portion of the Veda, the Purva Mimamsa Shastra. We can also include the Vedanta Shastra here, since scholars can know the meaning of the words without understanding that it is the meaning of themselves. However, Vedanta Shastra would usually not be included here because the verse itself is Vedanta Shastra. These scholars then are those who have scholarship in all the other Shastra, but the Vedanta Shastra, and their scholarship has to pay off in the form of this yoga, a yoga characterized by clear vision of the Vastu, the truth of everything. Already having this vision, the yogi is said to be superior to the scholars. Jnanibhyah adhikah yogi. That here it reminds us that Ashtavakra Shastra with the Pandit who is having the competition, that whoever can win him, he will uh, just be his disciple. And in that journey, so many Pandits had lost their lives, including Ashtavakra's father, I think. And finally, because that time Ashtavakra was a very, very young child, but he goes for Shastrarth with him and he wins over him. And when he wins over him, he also had to take Jal Samadhi, the person who that Pandit who was very Gnani. But Ashtavakra, out of compassion, tells that I will not do that because he had lost his father and he knew the pain. So the real knowledge is the one which sees the clear vision. Sarva Bhutasthatma. Everyone is the same. Who has the vision of the Vastu, the truth of everything, which is the Atma, which is the self-existent, self-evident.
Jai Gurudev, I have one question. This yogi is the one who has that aparokshanubhuti. Is it that?
Yes. I think that is what Krishna is meaning.
Okay. The same with Ashtavakra also, no? Though his body age was 12 years or something, but he had that aparokshanubhuti and he was established in the self fully. And that is what this yogi is called, no?
No, what is happening is, when you see everything as same, where is the purpose of taking Jal Samadhi? You know, means you are still making you and me separate, you see. Then he is not a jnani. If you are a jnani, you see everyone as one. Even the innocent, even the who is not knowledgeable. So why he has to take the Jala Samadhi? So by saying Ashtavakra, by saying that I forgive you because you are, everything is one Atma. So that Samabuddhi had not yet come to the Jnani. He was only knowing might be knowing verses and
So I'm saying Ashtavakra is a yogi.
yogi.
So his body age is 12 years,
Yes.
but it is that aparokshanubhuti. It is his own anubhuti. It is not like
So he
parok.
sees everything, everyone as one.
Correct.
Samabhava. You see,
Correct.
that has to be established. But this Pandit, he was thinking there is no competition, no. He is separate. See, he doesn't have a Samabhava.
I am talking about Ashtavakra.
Ashtavakra only. And that Mandana, no? Who is the Mandana? I don't know. What was his name?
No, I am talking about Ashtavakra himself, who is just has a 12-year-old body.
Yeah. And also his body
has
is
that aparokshanubhuti. So is the called yogi?
Yes, I think
The
so.
real yogi? That's what I am.
Yeah. And his limbs are 8, he has 8 knots.
Just to understand,
no,
I'm just to understand the
yogi.
more clarity on the yogi. I'm just saying Jnani and all other whatever have been explained up till now. How the yogi is different because he has actual that aparokshanubhuti. He has that anubhuti with him that he is completely established in the self. There is no any difference.
Yeah.
That is why he is called yogi. So we can have the example of Ashtavakra easily understand because we have gone through Ashtavakra Gita many times. So I was just asking.
So also here, we should not get confused when he says, Jnani Bhyodiko Yogi. The Jnani here, if you go through the commentary, is only one who is well-versed in the Purva Mimamsa, in the Vedas. It is not a Jnani as we learn, as usually is referred to in the rest of the Gita. So unless we are in line with what Swamiji is giving as a commentary, we can get confused with terms. So that is why I think if we pay attention to the train of how the whole explanation is going on, then in our minds we'll have that clarity that what is meant by Jnani here is someone other than the yoga, if you look at that, it is the jnanis who have scholarship, panditya, with reference to the meaning of the Veda, Shastrartha, specifically the Purva Mimamsa Shastra. So in this context, a jnani is one who is a Purva Mimamsa jnani.
And
So
he
then-
doesn't know Vedanta.
Yeah, he doesn't still know Vedanta.
Vedanta.
Has not, he is not having the experiential level of understanding. Just Panditya is there.
He does not even know Vedanta.
Okay.
See, that is why he's mentioned. These scholars then are those who have scholarship in all other Shastra, but the Vedanta Shastra. And their scholarship has to pay off in the form of this yoga, a yoga characterized by clear vision of the Vastu. Already having this vision, the yogi is said to be superior to the scholars. Jnanibhyaha adhikaha yogi. So that is why it reminds me when Manana says, don't isolate a verse and you will have to take the verse in the context of the Bhagavad Gita and in how the train of thought is being given.
Correct.
Otherwise, we can get so muddled up in our head when you just isolate a verse and then talk about it. It has to be taken in the context.
Yeah, and every time we have to recall every word what Bhagwan had said, especially for this particular chapter. I feel that we have to remind, every verse is interconnected.
Every verse, no, every word is interconnected.
Yes, true. Therefore, be a yogi. The yogi who is understood to be superior to the scholars and to the tapasvis is also thought to be superior to those who perform rituals, the karmis. Karmibhyah cha adhikaha yogi. Therefore, what does Krishna tell Arjuna to become? Be a yogi. Arjuna, tasmat yogi bhava Arjuna. Krishna says here. Having been given this advice, what was Arjuna to do? Based on everything Krishna has just said, this yogi is a sannyasi, one who gives up everything and sits in meditation. Does this not mean that Arjuna has to do the same? Originally, Krishna had asked Arjuna to get up and fight, explaining that karma was better for him than sannyasi. Whereas now, Krishna is telling him to become a yogi, a sannyasi. What does Krishna mean by all of this? Again, then Arjuna was confused. First, a karma yogi, then a yogi. The point Krishna is making here is that first, one lives a life of karma yoga in order to gain a mind that is prepared for the knowledge. Then one becomes a yogi, a sannyasi. In other words, you have to become a yogi after being a karma yogi. This is what Krishna means when he says, be a yogi Arjuna, yogi bhava Arjuna. Yogi here means one who is firmly established in the clear vision, samyak darshana nishtha, which means a sannyasi. Become that sannyasi, Arjuna. Krishna is saying, you should not give up your karma or anything. Running away is not to help you in any way. You must work towards becoming that yogi who has the clear vision. Therefore, become that yogi. Why does Krishna compare this yogi to other yogis here? Once the word yogi is mentioned, all kinds of ideas come to mind. Therefore, which yogi should I become becomes the question. Because everyone wants to become the best person, the most exalted person, Shrestha Purusha. Krishna compares the yogi with the tapasvis, the panditas, and the karmis. Having said that the yogi is superior to all of them, he urged Arjuna to become that most exalted yogi. Krishna defines yoga here in the 6th chapter of the Gita as Dukkha Sanyoga Viyoga, dissociation from association with sorrow. The verse presently under study has to be understood in the context of this definition and in terms of everything Krishna has said previously. The sameness of vision, seeing oneself in all beings, and all beings in oneself is all part of what he has said. So this is the essence of the whole 6th chapter. I will just repeat this paragraph. Krishna defines yoga here in the 6th chapter of the Gita as Dukkha Samyoga Viyoga, dissociation from association with sorrow. The verse presently under study has to be understood in the context of this definition and in terms of everything Krishna has said previously. The sameness of vision, seeing oneself in all beings and all beings in oneself is all part of what he has said. So, according to Bhagavan, the Shrestha Purusha is the one who has learned the dissociation from association with sorrow, who is having the sameness of vision, who sees oneself in all beings and all beings in oneself. And that person is above that Jnani and Tapasvi also. That the yogi discussed here is one who has this vision is made very clear in the next verse. Yogi namapi sarvesham madgatenatratmana shraddhavan bhajate yomam yuktatamo matah. The one who Shraddhavan has Shraddha, Madgatena Antaratma, with a mind Antaratma absorbed in me. Mam Bhajate, contemplates upon me. Saha, he, Sarvesham Yoginam, among all the yogis, Api, even, Yuktatamaha, the most exalted, Me Mataha, this is my vision. Yaha Shraddhavan Madgatena Antaratmana Mam Bhajate Saha Sarvesham Yoginam Api Yuktatamaha Me Mataha. The one who has Shraddha, who with a mind absorbed in me, contemplates upon me, he is the most exalted among all yogis. This is my vision. I repeat, the one who has Shraddha, who with a mind absorbed in me, contemplates upon me, he is the most exalted among all yogis. This is my vision. Krishna knows that there were many kinds of yogis, but he is not talking about any of them here. For yogis who meditate on various deities, there is a certain duality in that they take themselves to be different from that upon which they are meditating. Therefore, they retain their sense of karta, doership, and as doers, they do various types of yoga. Although these meditations are all laudable, they are not the yogi. Krishna is pointing out here the most exalted among yogis, yoginam api sarvesham yuktatamaha. The yogi being discussed is the one who contemplates upon Krishna as the Ishvara, yaha mam bhajate, not on a particular deity. It reminds me of Nanaji's word, avyabhicharini bhakti. Such a person meditates on the one who is everything, the one who is the cause of the world, Jagat Karana, and who is not separate from the Jivatma. The mind of this yogi is totally absorbed in this Parameshwara. Therefore, Krishna says, Madgatena antaratmana mam bhajate. In effect, he was saying, I am he is I. It means that for this person, there is no separation between himself and Ishvara. For this reason, then the person is considered to be the most exalted among yogis. So Bhagwan has beautifully clarified. I will just read once again. This is such a beautiful meaning. Krishna knows that there were many kinds of yogis, but he is not talking about any of them here. For yogis who meditate on various deities, there is a certain duality in that they take themselves to be different from that upon which they are meditating. Therefore, they retain their sense of karta, doership, and as doers, they do various types of yoga. Although these meditators are all laudable, they are not the yogi. Krishna is pointing out here the most exalted among yogis. Yoginam api sarvesham yuktatamah. Kshamyatam, Brahmaraji, my pronunciation is correct. Yuktatamah.
Yuktatamaha.
Yuktatamah. Yoginam api sarvesham yuktatamah. Yuktatmah. Atma astu. The yogi being discussed is the one who contemplates upon Krishna as the Ishvara, yaha mam bhajate, not on a particular deity. Such a person meditates on the one who is everything, the one who is the cause of the world, Jagarana, and not separate from the Jivatma. The mind of this yogi is totally absorbed in this Parameshwara. Therefore, Krishna says, Madgatena antaratmana mam bhajate. In effect, he was saying, I am he is I. It means that for this person, there is no separation between himself and Ishvara. For this reason, then the person is considered to be the most exalted among yogis. There are not two yogis here. Here, Krishna is not comparing the yogi with the yogi in the previous verse. He is simply describing that same yogi further. If this point is missed, as it sometimes is, certain problems in understanding can arise. The yogi under discussion is the one who was said to be superior to those who meditate, superior to the scholars who know the Veda, and superior also to those who perform rituals. And why is this yogi superior? Because contemplating on the Parameshwara, the Para-Atma, alone, the mind of the person is completely resolved. Having gained this identity, the person is said to be accomplished in yoga. So he is completely immersed in Ishwar Tattva.
See, when you do japa, you become that immersed. You are immersed in that. That was what I was telling. Mad bhaktaha madhyaji. See, absorbed, completely absorbed in that. When you start japa, doing the japa, you will be absorbed into that. And that state is this, what he was explaining. There are many ways to do that, but this is one also.
The previous verse actually completed this chapter on meditation. But Krishna wants to briefly restate exactly what yoga is. The identity between Parameshwara and the Jiva is yoga. And who gains this yoga? The person who has Shraddha, Shraddhavan gains this yoga. Shraddha is the attitude born out of the appreciation that the Shastra is the means for gaining the knowledge that is moksha. Such a person gains the knowledge by meditating on Parameshwara until the identity between the Jiva and Parameshwara as revealed by the Shastra is clear. Having gained this knowledge, the person is a yogi, the most exalted of human beings, there being no one superior to this yogi. I will repeat once again this last paragraph. The previous verse actually completed this chapter on meditation, but Krishna wants to briefly restate exactly what yoga is. The identity between Parameshwara and the Jiva is yoga. Please remember this line. This is a takeaway line. The identity between Parameshwara and the Jiva is the real yoga. And who gains this yoga? The one who has Shraddha. Shraddhavan gains this yoga. Shraddha is the attitude born out of the appreciation that the Shastra is the means for gaining the knowledge that is moksha. Such a person gains the knowledge by meditating on Parameshwara until the identity between the Jiva and Parameshwara as revealed by the Shastra is clear. Having gained knowledge, the person is a yogi, the most exalted of human beings, there being no one superior to this yogi. With this verse, then the 6th chapter comes to an end. Om Tat Sat iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita su Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjun Samvade Dhyana Yogo Nama Shashtodhyayah. Om Tat Sat. Shall I just repeat the shloka and then we can close for Manana? We'll just read the first shloka of the 7th chapter and then we'll do Manana. Can you go down, scroll down, Bela? Is there any more context in the PDF after the last verse? It is a summary of all 6 chapters. Summary of the first 6 chapters, no? Right. We finished the first Shatkar today. Yeah. So maybe what we'll do is just read the, as it is customary, we'll just read the first shloka of the 7th chapter. Okay. I will open it up, yeah. Shall I stop the screen sharing? No need, Bella. You can keep the screen share. I will just chant. Okay. Atha saptamodhyayah jnana vijnana yogaha
Shri Bhagavanuvacha Maya Saktamana Partha Yogam Yunjanmadashraya Asamshayam Samagram Mam Yatha Jnasyasi Tachrunu. Yeah, I think you can chant, you can go to the shlokas that we covered today and we can do manana on that.
There will be time for that seventh shloka of that same chapter.
Yeah, we'll do 10 minutes of manana, and we'll leave about 20 minutes or so for the other, 15 minutes at least for that.
So from here we had started today. Krishna says, Tatra tam buddhi sanyogam labhate paurvadehikam yatate cha tato bhuyah samsiddhau kuru nandana. Then he gains a connection through the intellect with that which existed in his previous body and strives for further success in yoga than that gained previously, O joy of the Kuru family. पूर्वाभ्यासेन तेनैव ह्रियते ह्यवशोऽपि सः जिज्ञासुरपि योगस्य शब्दब्रह्माति वर्तते. By this previous practice alone, he is carried away helplessly. Even as one who is desirous of the knowledge of yoga goes beyond the Veda, that is beyond the Karma Kanda of the Veda. प्रयत्नाद्यतमानस्तु योगी संशुद्ध किल्बिषः अनेक जन्म संसिद्धः ततो याति परां गतिम्. Whereas the yogi who makes an effort by means of the will and who cleansed of all impurities is successful after many births, then he or she gains the ultimate end. तपस्वीभ्योऽधिको योगी ज्ञानीभ्योऽपि मतोऽधिकः कर्मीभ्यश्चाधिको योगी तस्माद् योगी भवार्जुन. A yogi is considered superior to those who live a life of meditation, superior even to the scholars, and superior to those who perform action. Therefore, O Arjuna, be a yogi. Yogi namapi saresham gate antaratmana shraddhan bhajate yoma same yukta tamo matah. Who has shraddha, who with a mind absorbed in me contemplates upon me, he is the most exalted among all yogis. This is my vision. So he is me and I am him. That is such a beautiful revelation. Okay, we will close our eyes and we will try to meditate on these beautiful verses and then we will contribute. Hari Om, kindly share your takeaways from today's.
So from today, he is summing up who is yogi, because he is the highest person from that is exalted, exalted position. So one should be Shraddhavan and completely absorbed in him only. Means he is one with the Paramatma. When he becomes one with the Paramatma, that Samabhava has automatically will come. So that is the highest position. In Karma Yoga, what happens is, I am doing the karma and I do not want the phala. There is I is there. That I is not absorbed in the Paramatma. In the Karma Yoga. Even in the Dhyana Yoga also, I am doing the meditation. That also will come. These are yogas are helpful. That is different thing. Dhyana Yoga. So with the Dhyana, you are Shraddha. So when you have Shraddha, then you will get Jnana. Then you are completely absorbed in the super power or Paramatma. Means you have become one, Samabhava. The whole world is one. Not only Paramatma or whatever it is, what we think. So everything is Paramatma then. You are completely absorbed and only one Atma. It is coming from you, it is coming from us, everyone having the same. That Samatma Bhava has to come. He is the yogi. That is the correct definition I felt. So others also can add in this.
एक में सब, सब में एक.
Krishna has very beautifully given us a benchmark over here as what should be our ultimate goal, while giving reassurance that no amount, whatever is done on this path of yoga doesn't go to waste. All that accrues as your yoga samskaras and helps you gain a conducive birth. And he's talking of countless janmas, aneka janma samprapta. All that is in the previous lifetimes that we have accrued. So in this lifetime, that is why getting a human birth, that is being born on this path and getting connected to a master on this, in this lifetime, is such a fortune, such a blessing. We should not just let it fritter away. Every day, every moment, if we can be aware of this blessing that we have, it will only help us evolve higher and higher. And who knows how many of us will just attain moksha. Everybody has the potential to attain moksha. It all depends on your, what was that? Prayatna, your purushartha. Depends on your purushartha, and of course, ultimately it is grace that happens. Your purushartha is to become a better yourself as a karma yogi, be a better and a better karma yogi, so that there are no trace of any ashuddha in your antakarna. Becomes clean, crystal clear. Dhyana yoga.
become a nishta in dhyana yoga. Practice meditation regularly so that you develop that antakarana naischalya. And then shraddhavan labhate jnana. So with that shraddha and the knowledge in the words of the Shastra and the words of Vedanta, contemplate upon the nature of the Atma, nature of Parabrahma, then we have, at that point, then you get the experience, you recognize who your true self is. That is the exalted yogi that Krishna is talking about. Whereas Suresh rightly pointed out, you have the samabhava, samadarshana happens. Just a little word I thought I will just mention, because you said a karma yogi is not keen on karma phala. Not that he's not keen. It does not matter what phala he gets. No one works without expecting a result. But whatever result he gets, he takes it as prasad.
But it is that part we read, I think, I mean, this is what I thought, he does what is to be done without any likes or dislike, to the work to be done. And you are not the doer, that you also you're not the doer. That's when that becomes, I mean, maybe different types of thing, like you said. One is that pala, that you give it to, the way we always say Krishna Arpanamastu, like, so you don't have that kartritva bhavana, so that you give it to you take it as prasada. But the other karma yoga is that, I think we read somewhere about that. I don't remember exactly where we read that one. That he renunciates. I mean, he does all the activities without having the doership. So once we get that the impurities cleared off our mind, then our mind is ready for contemplation, by which as you explained beautifully, and there was a great summary of all the sloka in this chapter. Contemplation, and then having to have that vision of like realizing yourself, and then seeing that self in all beings, the sameness. That vision, when it occurs, then it becomes all one, that point. But then that's what I gathered also. Like, I couldn't say I, but it's the way it sum up. But here, where Bhagavan Krishna mentioned that between Jiva and Paramatma, right, Parameshwara, so we are connecting the self with the Brahman. That becomes Atma and Brahman, even though they are one and the same, once you have that sameness of the vision. Sameness, I mean, what do you call that? What was that you said? Sarvatra
Samadarsha, samatma.
Samatva. Okay.
If there is anyone else who wants to share, please go ahead. Otherwise, we'll go to shloka number 8. I think there is only one karma yoga. It is just that with karma yoga, there is that little trace of Dvaita Bhava is there. Although you may do it with that non-doership, your Ishvara is your karma dhyaksha and is the karma phaladata. So there is that trace of duality still, although you may do it with a non-doership.
share screen for chapter for shloka 8, Bila? You don't need to go up.
you do it, but then it is more like selfless way, like not in a, what I meant when we say I is like more like selfish type of meaning. We are doing daily karmas like for ourselves. And there is the thing about karma yoga is I felt that was not, you're doing it for yourself, you're doing it for some others. I mean, for what do you call that? Yeah.
Prasada bhava.
Yeah.
You're doing it.
You're just doing what is to be done.
Yeah, you are doing it
That's
for Paramatma. Maya Kruts. And Kruts means whatever work you do it for Paramatma. That is one way of doing it. Mat Kruta.
Yeah, that's the spiritual way of doing it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Doing it as a yajna.
Yeah.
Yajna. No, means do it as a, you are doing it for God. Means whatever God wanted, I am doing it. That way. He doesn't need your help.
He is
Yeah,
he is the doer. I'm not the doer. I mean, I'm just an instrument, that kind of an attitude, right? I mean,
yeah, but there is still that I is there, no? Dvanda Baba. It has to vanish.
Yeah, I mean, that eventually will be yeah.
That is what is Shraddhavan, that he said, no? Identity with the Jiva and Paramatma.
Yeah, we have to realize ourselves, then we'll realizing the other.
Guruji had said once, you are somebody now, you have to become nobody. From nobody, you have to become everybody.
This is very vital. From somebody.
From
to
somebody. Nobody, hollow and empty.
And
when you are hollow, then everybody. You are everybody that time. When you are empty, you are everything. That is how the zero also came.
So if there's nobody else sharing, we'll go to Shloka 8.
I have a little this thing on this. When we are doing seva, say like we are taking the Navchetna Shibir, what is called breathwater sound also. And there we are talking about health hygiene. The end result is that we want them to stop taking tobacco so that their health improves. Or we are cleaning up the place ourselves, leading by example, and then they are also going into hygiene and all that. So the end result, we are looking for the end result there, no? Isn't it?
Yeah. See, no action. That is why I kind of, when I think Sureshji mentioned, Karma Yogi is not looking at the phala. Of course, there is an end. You look for any action you do is with an end in mind. But whatever the end is, see now in the Navchetna Shibir, whether all of them follow the example set or they don't, you drop it there. That is a Karma Yogi.
Okay.
You do what is to be done, expecting that result. That is, I think in chapter 3, we dealt with in this in great detail.
Yeah,
it is
they
not
do
that,
have the result. I agree with you. Yeah, that
you don't,
the result.
it's not like you don't expect a result. Even a fool will not act without any expecting a result.
Every karma has a result,
has
right?
a result.
Every
But
action has a reaction.
you do not hook your your happiness onto whether the result is as much as you expected or not. Whatever comes, that you take as prasad. That is a karma yogi. When you curdle milk, when you set the milk aside to become curds, you expect it to become curds. But in the morning when you wake up and you see the milk is just like that, it has not curdled, then you smile, you take it, you don't get flustered there. I mean, I'm giving a very mundane example, but a person who's not a karma yogi will get all upset and flustered. This karma yogi will take it as it is, as prasada.
The trail of all negativities of craving, aversion, hatred, anger, that start if the result is not favorable or even favorable. You have done the moment you have completed the karma. That's all. And whatever comes up, rejoice in the self.
Correct. The arrow is short. Whether it hits bullseye, it misses the target, or it hits somewhere else, that is it. The arrow is short from you.
Yeah, even not to feel low also if it is not done too much in perfection. But we have given our 100%. But that also should not shrink your this thing, like beating up yourself, your mind. Need to be little bit careful here. Blaming ourselves also is actually hitting Krishna only.
Verse 6 of chapter 6. Verse 5, I think.
Yeah.
Uddharedatmana atmana.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Shall I
go
start?
Yeah, please go ahead. It might take a few minutes, I think. If everyone's okay, we'll do verse 8.
Jnana vijnana truptatma kutastho vijitendriyaha yukta ityuchyate yogi samaloshtasma kanchanaha. Jnana vijnana trupt atma, one whose mind is content through knowledge of the self. Kutastha, one who remains unchanged. Vijitendriyaha, one who has mastered the sense organs and organs of the action. Samaloshta ashma kanchanaha, one for whom a clump of earth, a stone, and gold are the same. Yuktaha, a composed person. Yogi iti, as yogi uchyate is referred to. One whose mind is content in the knowledge of the self, who remains unchanged, who has mastered the sense organs and organs of action, for whom a clump of earth, stone, or gold are the same. This composed person is referred to as yogi. Please scroll it up. Krishna uses the word yogi in 3 ways throughout the Gita. He talks about the karma yogi as a yogi, also refers to the person who is committed to dhyana, to a life of meditation, a life of sannyasa as a yogi. He calls the jnani a yogi as well. In these 3 contexts, then we find the word yogi is used. One is the karma yogi, the other is who is doing regular meditation, and the third is sannyasi. The meditation is sannyasi and the third is jnani. So all he is referring as yogi. In this verse, yogi means jnani, a person of knowledge. By using the word in this way, Here, Krishna is pointing out to the flow, the order involved in gaining the knowledge that is moksha. He is pointing out the flow, the order involved in gaining the knowledge that is moksha. Before taking up the topic of meditation, Krishna says that one must lift oneself up and not destroy oneself. That one who knows oneself is steadfast in the fact of all opposites, and that one who wants to attain this knowledge must commit himself or herself to a life of karma yoga. Having said all this, Krishna is now discussing the yoga rudha, one who has mounted the horse of yoga, in other words, the person of wisdom. The definition of knowledge. This person is called Jnana Vijnana Triptatma here. Both Jnana and Vijnan means knowledge, but when they appear together, Vijnan is Vishesh Jnan, specific or particular knowledge, and is something more than Jnana. Since both words mean knowledge, when they appear together, there is a connection between the two, which is purely contextual. When they appear together, as they do in this compound describing a wise person, jnana is to be understood as something a little less than vijnana. Sanskar makes this clear by defining jnana as that particular knowledge conveyed by the meaning of the words of the Shastras. And explaining the word Vijnana, he says that Vijnana refers to totally assimilated and owned up Jnana. That is Aparoksha Jnana without any Pratibandhakas, inhibiting factors. Between a person and knowledge there is a certain distance. For example, when I tell you that the Shastra says Atma is Brahman, the statement itself is very clear to you, which is a certain kind of knowledge, but you still have to realize it. You still have to recognize the fact. Thus, there is a stage where knowledge is in the form of a certain insight imbued with Shraddha and a certain faith pending discovery. The possibility of the self being Brahman is established. At the same time, what the Shastra says is also established, meaning that there is no confusion about whether the Shastra is talking about the difference between the individual, the Lord, and the world, or the non-difference between them. Here, what my takeaway is, two things are there, that when Krishna is saying the yogi, so here in three different ways he is mentioning. One is pertaining to karma, that is the karma yogi, how a mundane, a normal person is doing karma, and even the yogi is also doing karma. Here the difference between them is karma yogi never uh, is hanging with the results of his karma. He is doing as if non-doer, like God is doing everything through him. With that attitude, the karma yogi. And the second yogi is that who is regular with the meditation, that is the sannyasi. And the third one is the knowledge, jnani, who is interested in the shastras, the words, and whatever knowledge part of all our spirituality. So all three are here mentioned as yogi, but all of them are arurukshus. That is my understanding. And the yoga ruda is the one who sees through and through only the one throughout. There is no difference, and that is his experience. It is his own anubhuti. So outwardly, maybe he seems to be doing everything, laughing, moving around like any other person, eating, sleeping, doing all the mundane jobs also. But from within, he is so stable and steady that really nothing shakes him, as if drawing a line on the water. So all his shadripus, cravings, aversions, hatred, all those are almost like completely nullified, because he sees everywhere the same principle, including within him. So it doesn't matter, because he has transcended all these existence and established in the self. That is my understanding. And that is why this the example like Samaloshta Shmakanchana, for him, actually, if you see from the perception, bigger perception, all these things are the made up of five elements. It is one or the same thing. But when in the world, when you are working, you need to differentiate. So the one thing I can share here is like there are two satyas in the world. When we are operating, there is a duality little bit, but only at the functional level. From within, that steadiness should continue, that everything is self. Jai Gurudev. And Jnana Vijnana also, then when Jnana becomes your own experience, Anubhuti, then it is called the Vijnana.
Very beautifully explained, Madhuri. Thank you. Just that.
Yeah, धन्यवाद, बहुत बहुत अच्छे से समझाया.
Just that here, Yoga Ruda and Aruruksha. Aruruksha is one who is still climbing on to the path of yoga. For him, karma yoga is the means, if you remember that verse. And yoga rudasya tasyaiva shamah karanam uchyate. And for one who is established in the practice of dhyana, for him, shama becomes the means. Being in knowledge becomes the means. So I think what he is mentioning by Aruruksha, one second, let me just go.
He renunciates the actions, I think.
Total renunciation through knowledge. That becomes the means. That is the means for a person who is established in yoga.
He leaves the knowledge, means identify one with the Paramatma, Yoga Ruda.
Yeah, I thought maybe little clarity is required here for this verse. Arurukshor muner yogam karma karana muchyate yoga rudasya tasyaiva shama karana muchyate. For the discriminating person wishing to attain the contemplative disposition of yoga, of meditation, dhyana yoga, karma yoga is said to be the means. So for the antaranga sadhana, which is dhyana yoga, unless you are a karma yogi, you cannot become a proper dhyana yogi. And for the person who has already attained this, that is, who is already established in dhyana yoga, total renunciation alone is said to be the means for him or her. So he's differentiating here between a sannyasi who is established in dhyana. For him, total renunciation is the means. So sannyasi is, you can have a karma yogi who is established in dhyana yoga, And you can have a sannyasi is established in Dhyana Yoga. Dhyana Yoga seems to be the linking between the two.
These are very potential and important verses for sadhaks. Otherwise, this thing comes up, no, so long I'm doing and nothing is happening. Doing the mala, the mandalu and running away. Kuch bhi nahi ho raha hai. So these are the slokas which come to our help and support.
We are in that boat always. Here he makes that Aruruksha and Yogaruda. And at the end, he gives that, just we should be absorbed. That is the end. Shraddha.
But renouncing the karma becomes, it should not like, karma is a part of our existence. Karma renunciation is the last step, I think. The last step you can say.
It is renouncing with knowledge. It is karma, jnana, karma, sannyasa. It is not just karma sannyasa. It is not just renouncing karma. It is jnanena karma sannyasa. Total renunciation is what is meant is not just not doing the fire rituals. He doesn't become a sannyasi.
Dr. Brahmana, you remember that one sloka that on the 4th chapter, I think, Brahma, you know how we say that? Brahma. Everything is Brahma, becomes it. Everything is Brahma. That you, in the end, you leave everything.
And even the instrument through which you are offering, that also you have to offer in the fire.
Yes, that is what.
Yeah, that's what the knowledge also.
Beautiful is for all the sadhaks. This is the ultimate. And even don't worry, even if you have to, the body is dropped before accomplishing. Absolutely, Krishna is giving you that confidence. Never worry, I will take care of you next life also. You will start from zero, but from where you have left it. So nothing
having
is
infinite patience and implicit faith. That is why Shraddhavan. Otherwise, even on this path, there may be that element of feverishness.
Or doubt also.
Like that story between the two sadhaks, people who are, that person who was meditating for so long and asks God, when will I get moksha? He says, as many, I think leaves are there in the tree.
Tree,
and,
yes.
The tree.
Yeah, I think Percy ji knows that story.
As many leaves of the tree are there, that many lifetimes you'll have to come through. And then the small youth who's sitting beside, he also asks, when will he get moksha? And that youth is told how long you have been doing tapas. And he said, for so many years. So he's saying, so many trees having so many leaves on them. So if you've been doing tapas for 20 years, 20 trees, the leaves of that will fall off. That much lifetimes you'll have to come back. So that youth starts dancing, oh, only so many lifetimes left.
Yes.
He gets instant moksha, whereas that fellow goes through the torture of penance.
Yeah. So the thread of Shraddha is so important. Time and again, Bhagavan has been re-emphasizing it. So that Shraddha is is paramount.
I think this whole chapter, we need to go through it again and again so that this gets established into us.
Yeah. Tomorrow we'll do the summary of the first 6 chapters. We'll start with that. And who is doing verse number 9? Any volunteers for that? Any of you can come forward.
Coming forward, then I will do.
When we're doing the verse, just a simple request is, of course, if the verse requires us to read the whole PDF, we'll read it. But for you or the person to just go through that, understand what his input is, and in brief, maybe 5 minutes, to explain what his or her understanding is. That will become a summary of all the whole content of the PDF. Huh? And then if required, we'll of course read through the PDF. Jai Gurudev.
Okay.
Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Gurudev.
Thank you so much.